Good morning. We are on Gimel Medalef 43a. Before we go there, we promised that we'll give a little deeper insight into the Gemara we learned on Friday. The last lines that we learned, the Gemara commented on the verse. The verse reads in Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 4, as part of the Kohen's speech before the Jews go out to battle. The verse reads, Ki Hashem elekechem ha'holech imachem, for the Lord your God is the one who goes with you, lachem lachem, to battle for you, against your enemies, eschem, to save you. And the Gemara asks, kol kach lama, why so elaborate? Why so elaborate in this description? Why not just say God's with you, goes with you, to deliver you, to save you? The Gemara answered, because God and all of his various different of all of his different alternate names, are in the ark which go with the people. So what's the nature of this question and answer? What's the nature? What exactly is the Gemara asking when it says, is the audio working? I hope it is. Sorry? Test. See the green thing. Hope it's working. Oh, there, yeah, it's definitely working. Okay, so the Gemara asks, what's the nature of this question? What exactly is the Gemara asking? And what's being answered? Why so elaborate? Because Hashem and all of his names are in the ark. What's the question? What's the answer? So Rashi explains like this. Rashi explains, the question the Gemara is asking is on the words, ha'holech imachem, that goes with you. Instead of just saying God is with you, it says that goes with you, ha'holech. And the way Rashi puts it is, mashma, the implication is, holech mamish, it's literally going with you. Just say God's with you. Going with you implies that it's moving with you. So towards it, to that end, the Gemara answers, yes, it is going with you, because physically the ark is coming with you. Yeah, that's how Rashi seems to be.
This is why the speech is so elaborate.
Oh, so that's my question on Rashi's interpretation. It doesn't only explain why the speech is so elaborate. It just explains, in other words, according to Rashi, the question is not why it's elaborate. According to Rashi, the question is, why does it say ha'holech imachem? Ha'holech, that goes. And the answer is because literally the ark goes with you. Right? Yeah. Right, that's which is fine. What's missing in Rashi, I think, perhaps, is this idea, Shashem v'chol kinuyav, because God's name and all of its alternate names are in the ark. The main point of the answer, at least in Rashi's wording, is because the ark goes with them. And the ark has Hashem's name. The point is the ark goes with them. The way the Gemara answers it is because the name and all of God's alternate names, munachim ba'arin, are placed in the ark. Finished. The Gemara doesn't even say, and the ark goes with you. I guess it's because and then we understand that from the next verse that the Gemara quotes, which says that Pinchas went out with them, the Sanhedrin goes out with them, the king goes out with them, the ark goes out with them, and the trumpets. Right? But the main point of the Gemara's answer seemingly is missing in Rashi's word reading. The Gemara should have said, because the ark goes with them. That's why it says ha'holech goes with them. In the Gemara's language, it seems like
we inferred
the elaboration.
Yeah.
The reason, so why did I say the elaboration? Because what the Gemara says is, the Gemara seems to be telling us, well, because God's name and all of his alternate names are in the ark. That's how the Gemara puts the answer. As if the question was an elaboration, and the answer is because the whole elaboration is in the ark. That's another way of understanding the Gemara, considering the Gemara's wording in the answer. Shashem v'chol kinuyav, God and all of his alternate names are in there. Right? Good morning. So that's why I read the Gemara that way, because of the Gemara's answer. Following? Yeah? Meaning, in the Gemara's answer, you can refer what the Gemara's question is. Let's translate the Gemara literally. The Gemara says, "Kol kach lama," and all of this why? All of what? All of what?
All of Torah.
The Gemara says, "V'kol kach lama," and all of this, why? And the Gemara's question. What's that question? What's all of this? The Gemara is asking of it.
Speech.
Something about the speech, but which part of the speech is superfluous?
Name.
The Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara just says, and all of this, why? What's this? He says the Gemara does not specify its question. So Rashi explains what's the question, why it says "Ha'hoylech," that goes with you, as if it's literally. To which the Gemara answers, because the ark is going with you. Right? But again, what's the Gemara's wording in the answer? Because God and all of his alternate names are placed in the ark. And direct quote from the Gemara. So if that's the Gemara's answer, because God and all of his names are in the ark, then what was the Gemara's question when it said, and all of this, why? What's wrong? Okay. Follow what I'm saying? No or not? If you're not, tell me not. Don't. Again. So let's translate the Gemara's words literally. Remember, our job is to understand what the Gemara is thinking. Right? So let's look at the exact words of the Gemara. Question. Kol kach lama, and all of this, why?
That's the question.
That's literally the Gemara, only the words of the Gemara. And all of this, why? Doesn't say what this is. It just says, and all of this, why? Answer, because God and all of his names are in the ark. Direct quote. What was the question? Well, the question had to be answered in the answer, is it not? Sure, correct?
What is this? That was the question.
That was the Gemara's question. Why all of this? Gemara answered, because God and all of his names are in the ark. Right? Which means whatever the this is that the Gemara is questioning must be answered by the fact that God and all of his names are in the ark. So what's the this the Gemara is asking about? That is answered in these words because God and all of his names are in the ark.
But the Torah is being
Mhm.
with us.
Sorry?
It's with us during battle.
Oh, that's what Rashi translates it. Because right, that's what Rashi translates it. When the Gemara asks, and all of this, why? The Gemara is asking, why say that God is going with you? Just say he's with you. Why he's going with you? Because physically it's there, because it's in the ark. There we go. Clear? Okay. So my question on Rashi is, now you see where I'm going? My question on Rashi is, if that's the Gemara's question and answer, then the Gemara does not have to mention that God and all of his names are in the ark. The fact that all of the other God's names are in the ark is irrelevant. The point is because the ark goes with them. That's the point. It's superfluous. If your question,
you know the ark is going with,
then that's the answer. It's irrelevant, the names. Now, if the question is why does it say go with you, and the answer is because the ark is with you, then say so. Why all of this? Answer, because the ark is with them.
Teaching something else.
At azay.
What?
At azay.
Oh.
That's Yiddish for exactly right. So come sa. That's where I'm going. So, that if the Gemara says God and all of his names are in the ark, that means in the question, part of the question was, what's with all of this elaboration? And it's answered by the fact that God and all of his names are in the ark. Following? So where's the question and where's the answer? So the question therefore must be, or at least partially, I'm not, God forbid, contradicting Rashi. And it's our job to also understand Rashi. Besides understanding the Gemara, we also have to understand Rashi. Right? But perhaps on a deeper level, and it goes along with what Rashi is saying as well, as I'll explain, is again this language ha'olech that Rashi highlights goes with you. Right? Where's God going from? Where's he going to? God's going with you. Exactly. And that's the Gemara's question. Not that he's going with us. He is with us. Why going with you? Almost as if like there's supposedly this, so to say, a change in status. God's here, now he's going with you here. He's always with you. Maybe that's a deeper meaning of the question, even in Rashi's interpretation. Is he not always there? What is this going with you? Where is he going from? Where is he going to? To which the Gemara answers, Because God and all of his alternate names are in the ark. How does that answer the question? Now she says, this is what goes with you in battle. I mean, the ark physically goes. But again, the way the Gemara's answer is, the Gemara is almost like God and all of his names are in the ark going with you. And not just, well, the answer is because the ark is going with you. What's the meaning of that? So perhaps it goes something like this. We know from Chassidus, and we discussed this here a number of times, in divine revelation and in divine experience, there are two modes. One mode is divine transcendence, and one is what we call divine immanence. What's the difference? In the language of Kabbalah, it's soiva b'mamale, that which envelops, transcendent, and that which is within. Now, obviously, just make this clear. Whether we, first of all, it's not two gods, it's one, God forbid, it's one God. It's just different ways in which God is experienced or expressed. It's one God, number one. Number two, divine transcendence and divine immanence is simultaneously everywhere and always. So what's the difference between the two? The difference is, what's the relationship between God and the space that's being occupied here? Right? There's two ways in which you can say God is everywhere. Say that phrase. They're both true, but two ways in which you can say God is everywhere. One way you can say God is everywhere, well, because God's not limited by space. And if you're not limited by space, then you're everywhere. Or, in other words, whether the space is here or not here, it's irrelevant. Because he's everywhere. That's divine transcendence. What's happening within the space that God is occupying is not relevant. So, right? And this is the, at least on one level, the depth of what we mean when we say God doesn't change. A world is here, a world is not here. We say it every morning. Atu you are you before the world is created. Atu mishin you are you after the world is created. The same you. The world is here, not here. What's the difference? And because of that, he's everywhere. So the fact that he's everywhere is not because of the space, but because he's transcendent from the space, and therefore it's irrelevant. So of course he's there, because why shouldn't he be? Right? That's divine transcendence. That's one level. And there's another level in which we say God fills the space. And so this is expressed in the words of our sages. Just as the body fills, just as the soul fills the body, so does God fill the world. How does the soul fill the body? The soul is not transcendent in the body. It animates the body. So the soul indeed permeates every square inch in every little area of the body. But in what manner? In the fact that it's invested in every single detail of that space, giving each particular space its particular version of life. So from that perspective, God is everywhere, but everywhere not transcendent from the terms of reality, but actually everywhere within the terms of reality. Right? In the space of each reality, God's there to give an angel its version of life, to give an ant its version of life, and to give the table its version of existence or life. So it's everywhere, but within everything. Immanence versus transcendence. Of course, they're both true all the time, and it's both one essential truth of God. He is simultaneously transcendent from everything, and at the same time, he's within everything to give it its particular version of life. Right? So the Gemara asks, why are we saying all of this? Why are we being elaborate? God goes with you. And the Gemara's answer, because him and all of his alternate names are in the ark that goes with you. Meaning to say, when you go to battle, it's not only as it's not simply, or don't make the mistake of thinking God's transcendent. It makes a difference if we win or lose. He's still the same. From that perspective of divine transcendence, what's the difference if you win or lose? This, by the way, explains Chassidus, is Haman's argument and why Haman cast a lot. Haman cast a lot because a lot is arbitrary. As if to say, what's the difference if we win or lose? Yes, Jews, no Jews, you can't care, you're transcendent. right? To which Hashem says, no, but I choose to care. And it does matter. I do go with them. I am in their experience, not just transcendent from their experience. I'm within their experience. I'm present with them, not because I'm transcendent, or not only because I'm transcendent, and therefore I'm everywhere, and therefore nothing matters, but I'm actually going with them into their battle with them because I am not just transcendent. I'm invested in everything, and I choose to care about this. And that's what the verse says. It goes with them. Don't get this idea that God doesn't care for winning or losing because he's transcendent. No, he goes with you. And that's expressed specifically in God and all of his alternate names. What are all the names of Hashem? What are the names? God has to have more than one name. Why all these names? They're attributes. Each name is a different attribute. But an attribute is only relevant when you say God manifests within a particular realm. The immanence. He fills all worlds. Malchus, yes, Malchus.
He infuses his attributes
within creation. That's correct. That's correct. Binyan Malchus, building a Malchus, reaffirms his attributes to be invested in creation. That's all expressed in the names and his alternate names. And this is the Gemara's answer. How is it possible God's going with you? Because Hashem chooses alternate names. He chooses modes of manifestation in which he manifests within creation, and therefore he goes with you. And all of it goes with you. All of his attributes go with you. Because all of these attributes that Hashem manifests and chooses to invest in creation are only valuable because he wants you. And therefore all of that goes with you into battle. Because if you're losing, what's the point of any of these names? Exactly. What was the whole point of Hashem choosing to manifest names, manifest attributes, and then invest himself within creation? Because he wants a relationship with you. So if you're going to battle, then Hashem and all of his names, all of his chosen manifestations are going with you. Because otherwise, this whole project can pack up and go home. It was a waste of time. This is what we were talking about a couple of classes back. When there's a battle and the king's very sovereignty is at stake, everything gets put on the line. Right? If it's a question of we have to conquer, we have to like a battle of resources. Right? So you're invading a country because you want to get their oil. I don't know, whatever. So you have to do a cost-benefit analysis. What are you going to gain and what's it worth investing? But if the very kingdom is at stake, there's no cost-benefit analysis. Everything's on the line. So all in, because otherwise, what's the point of this whole thing? Right? So Hashem is saying, me and all of my names, everything about me, everything I've chosen to invest within creation, that goes with you. Because otherwise, we can pack up this whole project and go home. If you're at battle, everything I've ever invested, my name and all my alter names go with you. I'm not transcendent, I don't care. No, I'm invested in this because I chose to care. And if I'm with you through my names, through Hashem and all of his names. That's perhaps a deeper meaning of all this, which doesn't negate Rashi's translation. It actually goes directly with Rashi's translation, because Rashi phrases the question as, what does it mean God's going with you? I'm not changing that question. I'm just giving it a spiritual dimension. In other words, what does it mean God with you? Going with you? He's always with you. What does it mean going with you? Answer, because him and all of us, because he has names. Hashem has chosen manifestations in which he chooses to manifest specific attributes, and those attributes are indeed invested in reality that go with you. And all of them go with you into battle. Because the whole purpose was for you. And this is perhaps a deeper meaning of the Gemara's discussion here, which is why the Gemara then goes from there to quote this verse, which describes that Pinchas goes with them. That's the priest who's anointed. The Sanhedrin, the high court, goes with the people. The ark goes with the people. There's trumpets. Everything goes with them.
That the same Pinchas from that part is named after.
It is the same Pinchas that the parsha is named after, which the Gemara is about to talk about presently.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's get into that since you mentioned that. Okay. We are on Mem Gimel Mud Aleph 43a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines from the top, the third to last word. So having mentioned that Pinchas is going into battle with the Jewish people, okay, we'll read it literally, and maybe we come back, we'll analyze that a little deeper and connect it to what we just talked about. So having raised this discussion that Pinchas goes to battle with the Jewish people, Pinchas being the original Kohen Mashuach Muhammad, the original Kohen who was anointed for battle, leading the people into battle. He's the first one. That seems like it. right? The pasuk says Moshe sent 1,000 legions from each tribe, and Pinchas the Kohen, and the holy vessels, and the trumpets, which the Gemara said. First of all, there's a repeated oisam. There's a repeated with them in the verse. So the first with them is to describe the actual legions going with them. The second with them is to describe the Sanhedrin, the high court. Pinchas is the anointed kohen for the sake of battle. The holy vessels, that's the ark with the tablets and all of God's names as we just described. And then there's a trumpet, which refers to the shofar that's blasted. Okay, so having mentioned that Pinchas goes to battle, and here they're battling the Midianites, says the Gemara, Leila Chinam is not for nothing. That Halach Pinchas Lamachama, that Pinchas is being sent to war as a leader when the Jews are waging war with the Midianites. Why is that? Because Lipora Din, Pinchas is coming to settle the score of Avi Oimai, his maternal grandfather. His maternal grandfather being Joseph, one of the tribes. And the verse says, the verse reads, the verse says that when Yosef was sold into slavery, he was sold multiple times, right? He was first sold to the Parsaim, was it? Right? But at any rate, at one point, he's sold by Midianites to Egyptians. So the Midianites were part of the process of his sale, and therefore it's appropriate that Pinchas comes to settle the score with the Midianites by going to battle with them, by settling the score of his grandfather, who was sold partially by the Midianites.
Pinchas's mother was Asnat.
Well, it's not his actual mother, but his great-great-grandmother somewhere.
Oh, great.
Let's see. The Gemara is actually going to analyze.
It says mother. Okay, but
let's see. But it means maternal. Yeah. So let's see. The Gemara is going to address this. Lememra, are you suggesting the Pinchas me Yosef Asi? That Pinchas comes from the tribe of Yosef? V'haksiv, doesn't the verse read? Ve'elazar ben Aaron lakach mibnois Putiel lo'lisha. Elazar, son of Aaron, that would be Pinchas's father, took a wife from the children of Putiel. And Putiel is actually Yisro, Moshe's father-in-law, which would mean that Elazar married an aunt. Elazar's father is Aaron. Aaron's sister-in-law is, what was her name? Zipporah, which is a daughter of Yisro. And the pasuk is saying that Elazar took one of Zipporah's sisters, another daughter of Yisro. So Elazar would have married his aunt. No, sorry, his aunt's sister, not his aunt. It's his aunt's sister. It's his, not a married aunt. It's his aunt's sister. His aunt being his Moshe's wife is his aunt, and this is one of Zipporah's sisters. So it's his aunt's sister. Yeah. So the point being that Pinchas comes from Yisro. So my love is not the case. The Asimi Yisro. That Pinchas comes from Yisro. His father married one of Yisro's daughters. So from his mother's side, he comes from Yisro, and his father comes from Aaron. So where does Yosef fit in the picture? His father is Elazar, from Aaron. His mother, we just read, comes from
But he wasn't a
Yisro.
Kohen because
he wasn't the Kohen because
weren't named until
that's
after
right.
he was
Kohen,
born.
that's correct. Kohens weren't named until after. No, Kohens were named before he was born, and therefore he wasn't part of the naming. He only became a Kohen after he successfully kills Zimri, right? That's when he becomes a Kohen.
Because he was born prior to that designation.
He's born prior to the designation of Kohen, is correct. Yeah. So now the Gemara says, why is Yisrael being called Putiel? Because he fattened calves for idol worship. That's why it's referred to as Putiel. And Puti comes from the word pitim, to fatten. And Kel means a god or a lord. So Puti Kel, he fattened for Lord, meaning because Yisrael is referred to as an idol worshiper, the one who fattens calves for gods. And the verse is describing Pinchas as his grandfather, maternal grandfather, being Yisrael. So what do you mean he comes from Yosef?
He tried to disparage him.
Yeah. Yes, I'm translating literally, but we'll get into all that, God willing. Says the Gemara, no. This Putiel is not a reference to Yisrael. So when we say that Elazar, Pinchas's father, took a wife from the daughters of Putiel, it's not a reference to Yisro, who fattened calves for his idol worship, but rather Yosef. Putiel here is a reference to Yosef. So when it says that Elazar took a daughter from the daughters of Putiel, a wife from the daughters of Putiel, it means from the daughters of Yosef, granddaughters, but a daughter from Yosef. Why would Yosef be called Putiel? Shepitpet, the Yitzray. He made light. He made mockery. He made nothing of his inclination. Controlled himself when he was being challenged. Okay.
And that's a reference to Putiel.
That's the Putiel. So his mother is from Yosef, not from Yisrael. But the Gemara challenges and says, no, it can't be. But the Shvatim actually would belittle Pinchas.
Yeah.
They would say to him, Reisim ben Puti zeh, did you see the son of Puti? Ben Shepitim Avi Imay Agalum Lavedis Chavim, the son of the man whose mother would, the one who's the son of the grandson of a person who would fatten calves for Avodah Zarah. Did you not see this Pinchas guy? And he dares Yareg Nasim Yisrael. He dares to kill Zimri, a priest amongst Israel. Who is this guy? Which is why the Torah has to say Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. When the Torah introduces that Pinchas killed Zimri, the Torah refers to him as Pinchas, son of Elazar, son of Aaron HaKohen. And the reason why the Torah elaborates on that, even though we already know his lineage, is because the Torah wants to give a response to those people who say, look, this guy whose grandfather was worshiping idols, here he's coming and killing a prince.
He has no right to be a zealot.
He has no right to be a zealot. Which means here now that he did come from Yisrael. And Putiel is Yisrael. So what do we mean when we say that Pinchas comes from Yosef and he's avenging his grandfather's blood by killing the Midianites? To which the Gemara answers, okay, he comes from both. He comes from both Yisrael, he comes from Aaron, and he comes from Yosef. And his being a grandson of Yosef and being a grandson of Yisrael, both are alluded to in the word Putiel. How so? Elai avua de'ema. If his father's mother is from Yosef, if his father's mother, so his father came from Elazar, son of Aaron, right? But his father's mother is who? So if his father's mother is from Yosef, his father's mother, right? Then Ema de Ema, then his mother's mother is Yisrael, is from Yisrael's side. The Ema de Ema Yosef, if his mother's mother is from Yosef, so his mother's could have been from Yisrael. That would be his mother's father. But his mother's mother could be from Yosef. Then Avua de Ema, the father of his mother, Elazar's mother, Yisrael is from Yisrael. So there's two unaccounted for grandparents, basically, and one of them is Yosef, one of them is Yisrael. The two, his father's father is accounted for, right? That would be Elazar ben Aaron. So what do we have left? We have his the pasuk says from the daughters of Putiel. So his father's side's out of the equation, right? Because his father took a daughter from Putiel. No, sorry, his mother's side.
It was from Israel.
Sorry. Let's see this again, because why would it be his mother's mother? Right. His father took a daughter from, says the pasuk, from the daughter of Putiel. His father took a daughter from Putiel, right? Now that either means
Father was Israel, no?
either that's his mother's. No, because the pasuk saying that it could be Yosef also. It's both, right? That's the Gemara trying to tell us. It's both Yosef and Yisrael, and that is either his mother's from Yisrael, and that would explain how his father took from the daughters of Yisrael, right? Because his mother's from Yisrael, right? The pasuk says his father took from the daughters of Yisrael. So if it's his mother's mother, would be from, 1 second. If it would be his mother's from Yisrael, That would explain the pasuk. He took a wife and the daughter to Putiel, or it is the father of his mother. Right, exactly. So it's either one of two grandparents, because the pasuk says his father took a wife and the daughters of Putiel. Who's Putiel? Putiel is either from his mother's mother or his mother's father.
But on the mother's side, definitely.
Has to be on his mother's side, because Yosef, because Elazar takes a wife and the daughters of Putiel. That's right. That's the point. Yeah, exactly.
But not on the father's.
It can't be, because the pasuk is this. Putiel is described as the lineage of Elazar's wife, which is Pinchas's mother.
Right.
So it's either his mother's mother or his mother's father. That's right. So either his maternal grandfather's Yisrael, or his maternal great grandfather's Yisrael, but his mother's father. Something like that. So either his mother's a granddaughter from Yisrael, from her mother's side, or his wife is a daughter from Yisrael. Yeah. The Gemara says, Dikanami. Indeed, you can point out from the verse that Putiel has a double meaning. Because the verse reads, Mi benois Putiel. He took from the daughters of Putiel. Trei mashma, implying two. Not two daughters, as you might have made a mistake of thinking, but because the word Putiel has a yud in it. Right, that's what Rashi tells us. Where's Rashi? Where's my Rashi? Here. Yeah. The pasuk says Putiel with a yud, as opposed to put el, right? Implying a plural of put. The put is the meaning of the word, right? Either put means fatten calves, or it means making fun of the Yetzer Hara, making light of the evil inclination. And it says there puti with a yud, implying two. Shema Mina, this is indeed a proof. Okay, so this is the Gemara's literal level. God willing, I'm out of town tomorrow and Wednesday, but God willing, we'll continue on Thursday. But just to give you a foreshadow of, I think, where this is going, and it seems it's almost so obvious. Pinchas is leading the charge in the battle. Right, we're talking about how God goes with you. And Pinchas leads the charge in battle. So God goes with you in your battle. But in you, you have two sides you can choose from. You have fattening for idol worship, or you have Yosef who controls himself with his evil inclination. Your choice. Same word, same putiel, but you can go one way or the other.
Can I add to that? I was thinking earlier in this class that maybe all of the names of Hashem that go with us is also alludes to, depending on how we behave, will elicit what
name
attribute Hashem
Atas,
will reveal.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's perhaps the Gemara's segue into putiel, because you have two choices in you. Hashem goes with you in everything,
right?
And you have two choices. You got Yisrael in you, and you've got Yosef in you. You have full mastery of self-control like Yosef. You can completely make light of your evil inclination, or you're like Yisrael, which fattens for idol worship. But we can go even deeper. That Yisrael actually also didn't fail at the end. He actually became a convert.
Yeah.
So what's the difference in Yosef and Yisrael then? The difference is Yosef never messed up. That's the tzaddik track. Yisrael was idol worship and then it came back. That's the Bal Tshuva track. Almost as if to say, you're going to win anyway. Hashem is with you and you're going to win. Either it's going to be the easy way, Yosef, the way, the tzaddik way, or it's going to be the Bal Tshuva way. But at the end, Hashem is with you, you're going to be successful. Either like Yosef, you're going to laugh at your evil inclination. It's going to be a nothing. You're going to laugh at it and control it from the beginning. Or like Yisrael, where you're going to give into, you're going to fatten the calf. But then you're still going to come back. Maybe that's not just a challenge in terms of Yisrael representing negative and Yosef representing positive, but to track the positive. Either the Yosef version where you laugh at the evil inclination because you're tzaddik from the beginning, or the Yisrael track where you fatten one way, but then you come back at the end. Bal Teshuvah. Maybe that's also another way of understanding this Gemara. So maybe we'll elaborate a little bit more on that on Thursday, and then we'll go forward to the next Mishnah where the Mishnah discusses the next speech that the Kohen gives, right? There's two speeches the Kohen gives. One at the border before they're about to go to battle. He gives a speech not to be afraid. That's when he tells them, that's when he says, and then in the second speech, he tells them to go back home.
Those who are exempt.
To go back home. And the Gemara is going to go through that speech of who exactly is exempt and when they're exempt and so on. Okay, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on Thursday, God willing.
Have a safe trip.
Thank you.